Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the slight delay. I was just trying to get everything hooked up on Facebook. And so if you just give me a moment here, I will be sharing my screen and we will go from there. So just give me a moment. And I see I have a cohort online. That's wonderful. I'm just going to now share with my PowerPoint, and then we're going to get started with some questions tonight. So if you just bear with me. By the way, my name is Keith Hampton, and I'm with Simple Wealth Online Education. I've been around for a little while. Oh, I see Randy has joined our team. Excellent. So Randy's going to be co-hosting tonight. He's going to be helping me with some of the questions, and because we're here to make a difference. And I started the meeting off by letting people know that we needed to answer some questions tonight. And those questions are some of the key things that all of us have. And the first one is, how do I make more money than I spend? How do I beat inflation? How do I become wealthy very quickly? But more importantly, how do I not gamble away my savings? Those are the real challenges out there today. And as you can tell, by the amount of snow on my roof, I've been around for a little while. I've been in the investment world for quite some time, and my cohort Randy has also been involved in that field. And we have experienced lots of ups and downs and a lot of misinformation out there. And we're here tonight to try and help you find easy answers in simple ways that you can really grow your wealth in a safe manner. So at this point, Randy, do you have any thoughts here before I get started on our presentation?
Keith, I think it's important that you brought up a very good thing. I mean, guys, I know we're here to talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but you know what? At the end of the day, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, it's money. I mean, it's a financial asset. It is something to be respected. It is something to be managed properly. It is something to be handled with maturity, just like any other asset or money. And, it's just an interesting thing, Keith. I mean, I go back a little ways too. That's why I'm a little glossy up here on the rooftop. But, I just think you're bringing up some great points here. And I think this is definitely I call these adult conversations that we need to have, because ultimately we need to talk about money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's really the reason why we're here. And I want to help as many people as possible, because I see so many people that are, what's the word? They just don't know what they don't know. They're doing their job every day. They're trying to get ahead. They're trying to save their funds. But unfortunately, the game is rigged against them and they don't even know it. And so that's the sad part. My gosh, if we could do one thing, and that one thing could be just to open people's eyes up into there is a better way. There is a way to truly have financial freedom. That's our mission. And so with that, I'm going to share my screen and start a short presentation, and then we'll go into some questions and answers afterwards. So hopefully this will be a lively discussion.
Yes.
So with that, I'll just share my screen. Okay. Just bring this up. Just before we get started here, Randy, I just want to make sure that you can see my screen. Or does that work?
It says, welcome, hang around. We will be starting very soon.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, excellent, excellent. So I just want to make sure we got to the first place. Okay, so as we are getting into this discussion, there is three main problems today that's holding us back from growing financially. And the first one is, are your dollars, your US dollars, Canadian dollars, or pounds, or lira, or whatever currency you're using in your country, is it a true asset? Well, at one time, the US dollar, it was actually backed by gold. It was a true asset. Unfortunately, That no longer exists. After 1973, Richard Nixon removed the US dollar from the gold standard. And since then, it is backed by literally a promise from the government. And I don't know about you, but how many promises have the governments really delivered on? Question mark. Are your dollars in your savings account, is it even keeping up with inflation? The assets that you've owned, you picked up, like stocks, bonds, maybe some land, is it keeping up with inflation? Well, dare I say that you're going to be shocked when I tell you it probably isn't. You see, the inflation rate that's put out by the governments is actually a rigged number. They actually have skewed the inflationary numbers so that you don't really exceed the true inflation. I mean, when they talk about 2 and 3% inflation, and yet you see your energy bills go up 20%. You see your food bills go up 15, 18%. What's going on here? Something's amiss. In fact, this is the sad reality. This is a slide from the Federal Reserve showing the purchasing power of the US dollar, how much it's shrunk since 1913 till today. That $1 in purchasing power has today less than 10 cents worth of buying power. Now, people say, well, that's inflation, but you really need to understand what the word inflation means. It's not like the price of goods and services went up. That's not the case. It's the value of your dollar bills are going down. You need more dollars to buy the same goods and services you could buy 100 years ago. That's the reality that's going on out there. So what are you going to learn tonight? Well, you're going to discover how we were able to grow our Bitcoin by over 500% in 2018. And you're also going to see how we beat that in 2019, or how we're going to beat that in 2019. In fact, some of us already have, and I'm a perfect example of that. I have been very, very blessed with what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight to already grow my portfolio greater than 500%. It's just phenomenal. Now, the first question people always ask, well, Bitcoin volatility, is it good or is it bad? Well, quite frankly, it's neither good or bad. It all depends on your point of reference. All depends on your education. You see, if you don't really understand what's going on in the marketplace, then it could be a bad thing. And sadly, what happens, most people buy into, say, Bitcoin when they start hearing about it in the media that it's trending up and you better get in, it's the fear of missing out. So most people jump in at an average cost of around $12,000. And sadly, the market goes up and then crashes back down. And those people panic and sell. So they get in at 12 and they get out at 6. Was that a good investment? Absolutely not. So in this situation, that's bad. But if you knew when to get in and when to get out, that would make it a very good thing. And folks, sadly, most people out there are going to be doing the same things that they did back in 2017. They're starting to hear about the Bitcoin trending up, and already people are starting to jump in, and that may or may not be a good time to be getting in. We're going to explore that here with this presentation. This is a typical graph of a Bitcoin showing where most people start jumping in, when it's already trending up. And sadly, when it corrects, fear jumps into the market and you panic and sell, losing money. Now, here's the good news. It's not your fault. You see, the game is rigged against you. You see, there's groups of people and organizations that want you to be buying at the wrong time. They want you to be selling when you should be buying and vice versa. That's how they make their money. Now, what's going to be different this time? Well, folks, this time, through the help of Simple Online Wealth Coaching, we're going to be offering you very elite coaching, training, and mentorship so that you will be able to crush your goals in 2019. So stay with us till the end of my presentation, for I have some special things to share with you. So the first question you want to ask is, how do you grow your Bitcoin asset? I mean, a lot of us understand that, yes, you can get in and you can set up an account and convert your fiat currency, US dollars, Canadian dollars, into Bitcoin. But how do you grow it? That's an interesting question. Well, there is a way you can do it. There's an opportunity for you here. And that is trend trading the cryptocurrency cycles. Now, why would you want to be trading those cycles? Well, the reason is it's the oldest and most reliable way for you to make money in the crypto market. And believe me, I've been involved in the crypto market since March of 2017. So I've seen all kinds of different methods of trying to make money in the crypto market. And folks, this is the best and most reliable way. Trust me on that one. I've been it and got burnt doing it in other ways. It can be done by anyone at any time. That's the other thing. You don't need to have a PhD in finance or be a marketing guru or be an algorithm genius. You don't need to have an average person can do this. And the beautiful thing here is you can start with any amount of money. That's the other cool thing. The barrier to entry is extremely low. I mean, you can get in with as little as $100. So what's the secret to trading in the crypto market? What's the secret to success? Well, it's really buy low and sell higher. Unfortunately, most people do the exact opposite, as we talked about earlier. You see, you hear about something trending up, and that's when you get in. So you're really buying high. And then when the market turns, goes the other direction, you're buying low. If you knew how to buy low and sell high, this is an example of what you could have made with a $500 investment in 2017. You could have bought in with $500 and bought $100 worth of each of these coins at the low. And if you sold them out at the high, look at the profit that you would have generated. In fact, that total would have been over $26,000 in profit on a $500 investment. That's the power of being able to trade those cycles. So the next question you need to ask, when? When should I buy? When should I sell? You see, if you're just out there in the marketplace trying to make those decisions on your own, trying to gather the information from people that are giving you the wrong information, well, folks, I hate to say this, but you're basically gambling. And I wouldn't recommend that you do that. I'd rather see you stay out of the market because you're, by and large, will probably get burnt. Here's the good news. We here at Simple Online Wealth Education have aligned ourselves with this incredible human being known as Marius Landman of pythonsignals.com. He takes the guesswork out of trading the cryptocurrency market. In fact, his training gives him over 30 years of experience in complex systems auditing, global trend data, and algorithm forecast modeling. Folks, he cut his teeth in the oil and gas industry, where he would gather all kinds of data from the drilling and completion side of that industry, which is the high risk side. And from that, he was able to start forecasting negative events. And at first, the oil and gas industry kind of laughed at him. They said, how could he possibly forecast the future based on this? Until people started dying from accidents. Now they listen to him. In fact, he's the chief forecaster and analyst for some of the top oil and gas companies throughout the world. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see companies that he works for, people like Schlumberger, Halliburton, Shell, GE, oil and gas. These are some household names that everybody should know in the oil and gas industry. They have reduced their risks dramatically because of his work. Since then, Marius got involved in the stock market and started using the same algorithms to predict the movement of stocks. And he did very, very well. Then from there, he moved into the cryptocurrency market and has shined unbelievably. In fact, he was the first gentleman to call, and it's documented, the high of Bitcoin at 19,500 on the 16th of December. And I remember those days because I was busy holding a bunch of Bitcoin. I got into Bitcoin in January of 2017 at around $1,000. And you bet I was still holding it when it was at 19.5. Boy, I was just dancing. But I didn't know Marius Landman. And when the market was telling us don't sell at that point, to keep on buying and holding, that's what I did. Well, sadly, in March, Marius called the low of Bitcoin at 6,500. Did I take a haircut? Yeah, you bet I did. Because I didn't know when to get in and when to get out. Now, the question you need to ask, here's a classic example. This is the actual chart the forecast that Marius put out to his subscribers back on the 5th of December. Remember I said the Wall Street at that time was telling everybody to buy more. It was going to 20,000, 30,000 and up. And yet Marius was telling all of his subscribers to sell. And boy, did they ever lock in profits compared to me out on the street who was hanging on for the rocky ride down. In fact, here's the amazing thing that Marius Landman was able to achieve. From January 1st through to July, he was able to generate over 518% profit in the most brutal down market in the cryptocurrency market. I rode that Bitcoin from the top all the way down to the bottom. You see, because wasn't involved with Marius Landman. However, the people that were got in the early phases down here in the low and rolled it up and got out at the high, and then waited until Marius told them, look, we're at the low again, get back in, and then get out at the high. And they just repeated this process over and over again. That's how he was able to generate those incredible profits. While you and I, out without this information, were just getting clobbered. Folks, if you have this information in your back pocket, this really does give you an unfair advantage to everybody else in the marketplace. So the next thing you need to ask, how do you get started? Well, you simply sign up and get a free account with Python Signals. It's just that easy. And then you want to join our Simple Online Wealth Inner Circle Facebook group, where we will give you more updates on how to set up accounts, how to fund it, how to make subscriptions. All the key information that you need is all in our Inner Circle. Now, in the past, Marius used to sell his information to the large, I would say, mutual funds or investment funds in the cryptocurrency space, and they were paying him an average of $3,000 to $4,000 a year for this information. Now, I don't know about you, but I couldn't afford that kind of, subscription. It's just beyond my abilities. Fortunately for us, Marius had an epiphany one day. He said, why am I selling this valuable information to the multi-rich who are only getting richer and they're doing nothing, absolutely nothing to help the little guy? So he decided, and with the help of two other individuals, he set up a company called Python Signals and offer these exclusive customer subscriptions at a much, much lower value. In fact, you're looking at a yearly subscription for less than $42 a month. I mean, now that I can afford. Now, $500 in one shot may be a little difficult for some people's cash flow. Well, here's the good news. You can come in for as little as $150 and get a 3-month subscription, so it balances out your cash flow. That's how economical this information that you get. And believe me, the information is invaluable. I have made so much money in such a short period of time by knowing when to buy and when to sell. So the next question you want to ask, what do you get if you buy a subscription with Python Signals? Well, you're going to get Marius's timely trading reports for all of the top 40 cryptos, not just Bitcoin. You see, there is some great value and incredible opportunities in trading some of the top 40 cryptocurrencies. You're going to get access to private Zoom meetings with Marius and his entire team. And folks, these Zoom meetings are not just very short minutes or meetings telling you when to buy and when to sell. No. Marius spends an hour to an hour and a half going into great detail, educating us on the entire market, on the charts. So he wants us to have as much knowledge as he has. Knowledge is king. He who has the knowledge has the power. You also get access to his email notifications and his private Telegram group, which is basically like Messenger, only it's all private and cryptoed or securitized. You're also going to get access to his private blogs for the latest market updates. And those latest updates are invaluable. I couldn't live without them, I gotta be honest with you today. They are just unbelievable how accurate they are. And the last thing you're going to get access to is a $5 million annual income roadmap as well. So at the end of the day, you need to ask this one important question. What's the ultimate benefit to you? Well, here is the ultimate benefit. Python Signals is simply a vehicle for you to accumulate more assets. Remember I said earlier at the start of the presentation, how do I grow my Bitcoin? Bitcoin is an asset. And we're going to get into that in a discussion later, but Bitcoin is a true asset, just like gold, land, fine art. That's the category that it exists under. And I need to also share with you this. Marius's personal goal is for you to have financial freedom in 2 years. That is his personal goal if you become a subscriber with Python Signals. So how do you get started? Well, you simply click on this link and set up a free account. And I will post that link in the chat box and on Facebook as well, so to make sure that you get this. And then check your email, because you're going to get an email to validate and verify your account, and you're going to get an email inviting you to this soul training or the soul inner Circle. There, I want you to complete the training. We have lots of videos that take you from step by step on to walk you through this entire process. We want to make sure that you are successful. That's our mission. So at the end of the day, you have two choices. Now, if you have, say, $500 or $1,000, well, you may want to maybe just buy the 3-month subscription and then keep the rest of the funds, $350 or more, leave it for investing in Bitcoin. But if you got over $1,000, then you may want to buy the Galaxy subscription and then use the extra funds to invest in Bitcoin. That's really the choices that you have here. And remember Marsh's personal goal. Visualize financial freedom in 2 years. Folks, you really need to believe the power of thought and the power of your words are truly will make a huge difference. Once you join this simple online inner circle, I call it the SO inner circle, we want you to go into this units area here and go through the modules that will teach you everything that you need to know. And with that, I would like to just point out that Python Signals, with the help of simple online education, will truly, truly give you an unfair advantage. So with that, I'd like to thank you for jumping on with us tonight. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we're going to open this up for discussions. So Randy, see you back there again? Whoops, you're muted.
Yeah, there we go. You know, Keith, I think you bring up so many great points in the presentation there. But I think the general idea here, and I think this is a lesson for us all. You know, first of all, Bitcoin is an incredibly powerful asset, and we should respect it as such. We should respect it as such, and therefore we should take it serious. And you know, you went over a lot of great things about, you know, buying low and selling higher, and not getting caught up in the, you know, in the emotional turmoil of buying high and then being disappointed and selling it when it's low. You know, these are all things that we do when we are uneducated, when we are not taking it serious, when we are indifferent, now, you know, we had a conversation last night. Listen, you know, when it comes to the other money, regular fiat currency money, oftentimes we find people taking it very serious. So much so that we'll go to college for 4 to 8 years to get a job, and we'll work for 40 hours a week for 40 years of our lives. That's how important that money is to us.
Right.
But here's cryptocurrency that is a powerful leveraging tool, an asset that within the last 10 years has done tremendously better than some of the highest performing assets that we know of today. And, you know, we as, you know, guys, we got to take this serious. You know, we got to get in, we got to put our heads into this thing, and we got to spin it around, turn it around, and run our fingers through it and really understand it, because this is a way that the average person like you and I can create wealth for the first time in maybe a millennia, that the average person has had the opportunity to grab a hold of an asset and build wealth with it. So that's kind of where I am with this thing. And this is the kind of thoughts I get from your presentation, Keith.
Thank you, Randy. You're absolutely right. The opportunity that the cryptocurrency space has offered up to the average person. Keep in mind, folks, that the cryptocurrency was created by us, the democracy. It wasn't created by the banksters of the world. I'm sorry to use that word, but it is truly, they don't have your best interest at heart. Their interest is to make money off of you. That's it. They're driven by profit and greed. Bitcoin was created for us, the democracy, for us to do commerce back and forth without the interference of the banks and the governments of the world. That's what's unique about it. And keep in mind, when I say it's a true asset, folks, Bitcoin will be a true asset in the form of, it's a fixed currency. What do I mean by that? Well, there's only going to be 21 million coins ever produced. That's it. It's locked up in the code, and it can never be broken or hacked or changed. That's a true asset. That's like land. There's no more land. So what happens to the value of land over time? Well, it doesn't go up a straight line, no, but it does go up. That's the power of what you have with cryptocurrency. Whereas your dollar bills, well, guess what? They're not fixed. They're printing them out all day long. They call it, fancy words in the States called quantitative easing. And Randy can probably share some of that highlights to us. They've had more quantitative easing scenarios than Carter's got liver pills down there.
Yes, yes. And,
So,
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I want you ready to share about that. Here's the problem. If you are printing money like no tomorrow, folks, go back in history. Look at countries that did that to try and devalue the currencies. Look at Germany after World War I. They tried to pay off their debts to the rest of the world by printing more money. And what ended up happening, people ended up having taken wheelbarrows of money to the store to buy a loaf of bread. Similar things have happened in Zimbabwe. And now look at what's happening in Venezuela. Folks, this is what happened. This is the consequences. And for you and I, that's a real problem because you're doing your work today and getting paid in what? Fiat currency. That's going down in value faster than you can, invest it. That's the reality of it. Randy, what's happening in the U.S. right now?
Well, first of all, before I go there, Keith, let me. There's a good question here on the video that's playing live in the group.
Nice.
Is it okay if I read that out so we can get that? Okay, great. This is our good friend William Pike, and William Pike asks a great question. William, thank you for participating in this call tonight. He says, if Bitcoin is, say, worth $15,000 a Bitcoin, and there are 21 million coins, that equals $315 billion.
Correct.
The bankers, okay, now here's the little interesting part. The bankers could buy it all up and none left for us. How would 315 billion service the global trillions demand? Okay, and then he has a follow-up comment, and he says, that's what scares me. Rich get it all and we have none. William, thank you for bringing that up. And Keith, if you don't mind, I'll just kind of start on this here a little bit. First of all, Keith, you mentioned who created Bitcoin. It wasn't the banksters.
Correct.
It wasn't the governments. It was developed by the people that represent the common man and woman out there, and had the best interest of the people's personal finance and the ability to manage their finances in mind. So here's the thing, William Pike. The creators of Bitcoin were so cool. They did not make it so that all Bitcoin was into the market all at once. There's a complicated process. It involves what we call mining and halving. Okay, H-A-L-F. Okay, and it only allows for a trickle of Bitcoin to enter into the marketplace every day, every week, every month, every year. And every 4 years, the complicated mathematical algorithm system thing that I don't know, and I'm not a technical guy, but I have a general understanding of it. Every 4 years, it's reduced by another half. So in actuality, William Pike, in order for all the Bitcoin, the 21 million, to enter into the marketplace, it's going to take about another 100 years for the world to see the entire amount of 21 million Bitcoin. And right now, over 17 million are already in the marketplace. That leaves only 4 million for the next 100 years. Imagine the scarcity and demand as the entire world continues to adopt and adapt to Bitcoin, making its value go higher and higher and higher, to the degree that some people predict that one Bitcoin could be valued at, say, $1 million. Now, why is that important? Because right now, William Pike, the bankers are sleeping on this stuff. They were not the first to market. As a matter of fact, they're not even the majority holders of Bitcoin. You know who is, William Pike? The people. Because the people were involved with Bitcoin while the bankers were still trying to figure out how to spell Bitcoin. You got to understand what's going on here, William. So as the Bitcoin is scarce and the demand is high, first of all, you and I aren't trying to sell all of our Bitcoin to the bankers. We're going to hold on to a great amount of our Bitcoin. And most of the Bitcoin is held by the average person out there from all over the world, whether you're talking about the US, Canada, Africa, or China. So what we have here is we have a tremendous asset held by the people, and the demand is high, increasing the wealth of the people. And the bankers are either A, sleeping or very late to the game on this one, William. There is still plenty of time for you to get into Bitcoin, get you a significant slice of it, trade it to accumulate more. But for the most part, William, we are in this in control of the majority of it. The bankers cannot take over this thing. They cannot run it like they've run the rest of the money operations in the world, the fiat currency monetary systems. So there you go.
You did an excellent job of answering that question. Beautiful.
Yes. Yeah.
The people, here's the thing too, I'll share with people. Remember, Bitcoin was rolled out back in 2008. And in the early adopter stage, remember, most people didn't even know what Bitcoin was until about 3 years ago. So the people that were slowly accumulating it were the, I call them the propeller heads of the world, the techies. They were understanding it, and they were mining it and trading it, and the masses there is what accumulated the most of the Bitcoin. Now, these people are naturally anti-government, anti-bank type of people. So you think they're going to give up their Bitcoin to the banksters? No.
No way. No way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, that everything I've looked at right now is, and I've been around the investment world for a number of years, and what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing that this quantitative easing that we were talking about earlier, these printing presses by these banks all over the world are printing money like no tomorrow. So every country is doing this. It's a race to the bottom on the value of their currencies. And what that's going to create, guys, is a hyperinflation. Now, we've had inflation, but we have never had hyperinflation. And folks, when that kicks in, it's going to be criminal for you, because your dollars, I mean, as fast as you're making them, look, you can make $100 here and it's only worth $50 in a month's time. That's hyperinflation.
That's right.
So you see what that's going to do to you, folks. And that's the reality. So I'm sharing with you tonight that you need to get into hard assets. And the hard assets, I don't recommend just all one thing. Bitcoin is my number one choice. The reason is it's the best, highest performing asset that will happen over the next 3 years. In other words, nothing will outperform cryptocurrency. Absolutely nothing. The other assets like land, gold, silver are also key assets that you need to hold. But here's the problem. These hard assets, let's say a very nefarious thing happens out in the marketplace, and let's say a war breaks out, and you've got to get your butt out of wherever you are. Well, how are you going to move your land? Can't do it. So you say bye-bye to your land. How are you going to move your gold or silver out of the country? You ever try to move gold bullion out of a country? Can't do it.
Can't do
Okay.
it.
Now, so those assets you can't get out. But Bitcoin and the other top cryptocurrencies, they're already gone. They're already in the internet space. You can jump on a plane or boat or a truck or a car, go to some other country where it's safe, and your money is right there for you to go to work with. That's the power. That's the ultimate security and transportability of your assets. So you see, folks, even if you just got in just for that safety valve, that alone will be worth its weight in, I call it gold.
Yeah, and you know, Keith, I again, when people look at the principles of sound money, and guys, I got a whole bunch of books on money over here because prior to Bitcoin, I was, you know, I'm a licensed insurance agent. I got heavily into becoming your own banker. Holding precious metals, all these kind of things. I even did some study on Austrian economics. And I only bring this up because at the beginning of the presentation, Keith, you kind of made some references to money in general. And guys, you got to understand this is why we're excited about Bitcoin, because we understand money in general. When you understand money in general, you're looking for certain principles of money. And unfortunately, fiat currency, paper money, does not satisfy all of the principles of sound money. It's just the way it is. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't go cash your paycheck and go buy some groceries, but when you look at the big picture, fiat currency is not stable the way a lot of us think it is. But when you look at the principles of sound money and you apply it to Bitcoin, then Bitcoin satisfies all those principles. With that being the case, I would suggest that you don't get into cryptocurrency unless you're in the business of accumulating more of it. Because, and I'm not saying take all your assets and convert it all into Bitcoin. That's not what we're saying here. But you should, if you're participating in Bitcoin, understand, yes, naturally over time it's going to go up. But at the end of the day, when it does go up, how much of it do you want? And that's where the rubber meets the road. That's why the Simple Group exists here. That's why we're affiliated with Python Signals, because we're not just rooting for Bitcoin to go to the moon. Until it goes to the moon, we're accumulating more of it and more of it. So when that day comes and it's at the moon, we're celebrating because we did all we could to accumulate more and more of it. And we have as much as we could have. And at the time it went to the highest heights. So that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to share my personal testimonial to people. I was introduced to Marius Landman in October of last year, 2017. And at that time, I got his reports. And the first thing Marius in his reports told me is, if you have any Bitcoin, sell it, because it's trading around $6,500 and it's going down. Mm. And so I followed his advice and trusted him. I sold my Bitcoin, put it back into fiat currency or in a stable coin backed by fiat currency. Mm-hmm. And then I waited, followed his reports until about the middle of December, so about 3 months. And he said, folks, we're now at potentially the bottom. I would strongly suggest you risk-averse investor to start buying back in. So that's when I started buying back into my Bitcoin. Guess what, folks? I just doubled my money, or I doubled the amount of Bitcoin that I had. You get that picture here? How to grow your asset? Now today, that coin that I bought at $3,500 is trading at slightly under $12,000. That's right. So I made another 400% just on selling once and waiting 3 months and then buying and then waiting 6 months. You see how easy this is? This is not day trading. This is trend trading, where you simply follow the trends and you don't worry about the little ups and downs of the market in between. You're looking for the strong trends. That's why it's so risk adverse. So this is one of the safest ways I know to grow your assets than in any other format that I see out there.
And Keith, I think it's important that we should clarify, because William brought this up about never selling and these kind of things, and there's a clarity that we need to make sure that there is. When we say buy low, sell high, we don't necessarily mean that you're gonna sell off your Bitcoin and run off to the races with your newfound cash out. When we're talking about the strategy of investing, and Keith, you might have had, I think maybe it's in my presentation,
yeah.
But it's buy low, sell high, repeat. Buy low, sell high, repeat.
Correct.
You understand, guys? We're not just saying, oh, cash out your money and go buy a boat. We're saying, it's a repeating process that continues on. And when you know the lows and know the highs, then, William, you made a point and said, you'll never sell. I understand what you mean, but I just want you to know that if the market is lower than what you bought it at, then it's advantageous to follow the strategy and, sell it when it's higher and then buy it when it's lower. You see, then you've multiplied your earnings or your holdings. I'm sorry, your holdings.
Yeah.
So that's an important clarity that I think we should make there.
I'm glad you brought that. Yeah, that's exactly right. For example, I'm just going to use a simple example. Let's say you started with, I'm going to just use a number, 5 Bitcoins. Well, I never sell all my Bitcoin. When the market is high, I'll maybe sell 3 and keep 2. Yeah. And then when the market gets low, then I buy back. But instead of buying back the 3, I'll be able to buy back 5 or 6. So that's how I'm growing my Bitcoin, and yet always having and I keep pulling a little extra to the side for the long-term investment. So I have one portfolio that's kind of my hold, never sell, and then I got my trading portfolio, which is where I'm trying to accumulate more to throw more over into my holding tank. You think that way.
Right.
Yeah. Some people are probably a little unsure of is how difficult to trade this is. Folks, trading is easier or just as easy if you had a self-directed trading account with any brokerage firm where you're buying and selling stocks. It's that easy. It's a push of a button. I have been training people from all over the world and people that are much older than me. In fact, I have a couple of people that are in their 80s and they can barely operate a computer. And folks, they are trading their cryptocurrencies and having a ball. And of course, they're making a lot of money too. So don't be intimidated. We're here to help you. We're here to walk you through everything. You can reach out to Randy and I at any time through our simple online wealth coaching. We will we can do meetings with you, phone calls. We are here to make sure that you are successful. That's our mission. That's why we're doing this. So with that note, Randy, is there any other questions that we need to answer?
I just want to say thank you to William Pike for reaching out there and helping us with some of your great questions. And I can see by the kind of questions that you're asking in the thing there that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency definitely means a lot to you, and you kind of understand that we're this is sort of a financial revolution, isn't it, William? And we're here to just help people kind of make that transition. So thanks, William, for tuning in and helping us out with the questions and whatnot.
Awesome. Thank you again. That was just super. Hopefully we'll be doing this again, and we invite anyone to next time we have a live webinar to jump on, ask those difficult questions. That's what we're here to do, to answer them and make your life successful. So with that, thank you again, and we hope to see you on the other side. Peace.
Take care, guys.